Hey, 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 guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Great to see everybody. And look at that. My mother's in the house. Wow. Hi, Mom. Mom's in the house too. Good to see everybody. Annie and Lori and Allison, Daryl, great to see you. Lynn, great to see the whole crowd is here. Nigel, great to see you. I feel like Romper Room. I've got the mirror here in hand. Hey, Kate. Great to see everybody. Welcome to our Superconscious Code webinar. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Many of you just came through our Breakthrough Code, which was our previous webinar, and you came to our Breakthrough Code Intensive, which was our weekend program. Joined us out here in Bali. That was super fun. We had an in-studio audience right here at Lighthouse Studios, and at the same time we did it on worldwide live stream, and super blast. It was over my birthday weekend, had an incredible time for that. And so now today is the follow-up to that. And so that was the Breakthrough Code, and today we're here to talk about the Superconscious Code. And my question to you is a question that I posed originally when we came into the Breakthrough Code program as well, and that is, who here, by a show of hands, wants to make more money? Raise your hand if you want to make more, even more money than we're making already, right? Who wants even more powerful relationships, that we're attracting the most divine connections that we possibly can? Yeah. Who here wants to have even greater levels of physical health, greater levels of energy? We want an abundance of all of those things. And I get that too. And for a long time, I'll tell you what, right now I'm living in the rainforest jungle paradise of Bali. I'm teaching what I love. I'm being able to make an impact in people's lives. There's nothing I'd rather be doing. So I'm thrilled to be doing what I'm doing here. And but it wasn't always that way. You know, there was a time when I had studied the courses. I was training NLP. I built the largest NLP training company in the world. Built a $100 million brand, teaching around the world. But all the tools that I had studied that got me to where I was going weren't necessarily sufficient to keep me, or at least my application of them, let's put it that way, weren't sufficient to help me to sustain what I had. And everything came crumbling down. My empire came crumbling down. And so it was out of desperation that I went seeking once again for the secret. What was it that was going to transform me and allow me to sustain all of the growth that I was creating? Today, I'm in super flow. I'm building a business that I love. Like I say, I'm living in paradise. There's nothing I'd rather be doing, and no place I'd rather be living right now. And what made it possible for me is what I want to share with you here today. So the tools that I had in the past, and maybe you've done NLP, fantastic. Maybe you've read the books too. Maybe you've been to the seminars. Maybe you've done many different forms of personal transformation, and that's fantastic. I'm glad that you've done that because that gives you a great foundation. What we're going to be exploring here today is what takes it all to the next level. What allows us to transform all of those great systems of thought, all of the predecessors in terms of personal development. What allows us to transform it into an entire transformational system, which I'm calling the Superconscious Code Intensive is our transformational system. And today will be an introduction to that system for you. But what allows us to transform it into a system that will allow us to create sustainable success, that will allow us to tap into greater levels of fulfillment than we ever had. And I'm super thrilled to be able to share the breakthroughs that I've had in my own life and share those with you here today. So we're going to do some exploring. We'll also take a look, and I'll demonstrate some of the new tools that we're working with, and we'll have a little fun over the next 90 minutes that we're going to be spending here together. But I have to tell you as we start, I had a dream once again about a teacher. And some of you perhaps remember the dream that I had before. There was a teacher in this dream that was in front of a group of students, much as I am here right now with you. And the teacher was teaching, and the teacher looked out at the students and said, I want you to imagine something right now. I want you to imagine that you are standing in front of a mansion, like the most beautiful mansion that you could possibly imagine. It's exquisite. And as you approach the door, there's a sense of familiarity with it. It's like there's something that seems to be calling you, beckoning you even. As you approach that door, you feel that sense of familiarity rising, and you have a sense and an awareness that on the other side of that door is everything you could possibly want. the life of your dreams, the travel, the depths of fulfillment that you've always desired, perhaps even greater depths of joy than maybe you're even experiencing now, the quality of relationships that you want, the level of physical health that you want. It's all right there beside that door. But when you reach out and you place your hand on the metal handle and you feel the coolness of the metal in your hand as you do, and you move that handle around, it doesn't seem to open. You jiggle it a little bit more and it seems to be locked. You tug and you tug and you tug, and you can't make it inside. And so out of desperation, you begin to move around the house. You look in through the windows, and sure enough, you see inside there everything that you've ever desired, everything that you've ever wanted in your life. But you're locked out. You don't have the key. And so you move around, you rapidly and unconsciously move around the house, still finding no way to enter the house. And then, out of the side of your eye, you glimpse something. There's something shining. But it's not the key, at least not yet. And then instantly you're transported. And you find yourself in a rocket ship, like an incredible ship that's destined to move toward the stars, to take you places that you've never even dreamed of before. And the excitement is rising within, and you hear the voices deep within congratulating you for being on this trip, for being on this voyage, the epic adventure of a lifetime. And as you're there inside this rocket ship, you can see other ships, rocket ships, that are blasting off toward the stars, and you're excited because now's your time, and you're sitting there and you're ready to go. But you see the dials and the levers and the switches inside, and you realize that you never learned how to operate the ship. And as you're there, you're sitting there, you're thinking to yourself, but we're supposed to launch. I'm supposed to go. I'm supposed to be over there. I belong there. And you know deep within yourself that you do belong there. You belong amongst the stars. Yet you're still sitting there, unable to move, because you don't know what to do, because nobody ever taught you how. But then you have the realization that perhaps there is a solution. You see a line of code that begins to appear on the screen in front of you. You see, your mind is an operating system. It's an incredible operating system. And we may learn how to change the programming. We go to the Breakthrough Code, and we go to the Breakthrough Code Intensive, which many of you joined me for, and we learn how to change the programming. Many of you have been in other programs with me before in the past. Maybe you did NLP, right? And you come in, you learn how to change your limiting thought, or you learn how to change a negative emotion in your consciousness. You learn how to raise the vibration of your emotional states. You learn how to make changes, specific changes, how to get rid of a limiting decision or a limiting choice or a limiting belief that's holding you back. So we learn how to make pinpoint accuracy type changes within our consciousness. But sometimes we're moving forward in life, and we're ready to go out and make our life work. We're ready to go out and build that dream, build that business, or we want to attract that right relationship, or show up in a way that creates an incredible relationship, or get going to the gym and working out. And then we have a system crash, right? The system crashes, error, need to reboot. And we reboot and we get ourselves to go again, and then the system crashes again. And the system crashes and crashes. And the problem isn't that we need to make a shift. It's not that we need to change another limiting belief. It's not that we need to get rid of a negative emotion. It's we need an entire upgrade of the entire operating system. And that's why we're here. It's being like on a journey, like being a navigator of the world. And perhaps you've learned to navigate the world, and you've got maps that help you to navigate that world. Maybe you've done NLP. Maybe you trained with us in NLP. Maybe you've learned how to change a negative belief, or how to change a limiting decision, or how to wipe out a parts conflict inside yourself, where part of you wants to weigh your ideal weight, and part of you wants to eat this whole pizza all by yourself. That's a parts conflict. So we learn different types of tools along the path. Maybe you've learned other transformational tools. But the thing is you don't need necessarily another healing session. It's not that you need more journaling. Sometimes what you need is an entirely new map to take you to places where you've never charted the terrain. And that's where we're going to be heading in this program. Is we're going to be heading to a place, in our breakthrough code, we talked about, getting a new GPS that doesn't keep taking you back to struggle, but rather takes you to exactly where it is that you want to go. Here, what we're talking about is replacing the entire operating system, replacing the old maps that you used to have. A paper map is not going to get you to where you want to go at this point, because here is where we really learn how to fly. And what we're talking about is, once again, the Superconscious Code Intensive. And so over the years, as I've taught our Breakthrough to Success seminar, which is our weekend seminar, in that program, we've had thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people that would come through the program, sometimes in a single weekend, right? And so people would come in and find out how they could break through, pinpoint everything that wasn't working, both consciously as well as unconsciously, break through those barriers to success and gain massive propulsion forward. And it's an amazing weekend. We can have amazing results when we go in and we do interventions like that. And what happens when we're looking for change that's less remedial and more generative? So what's the difference between remedial change and generative change? Remedial change is when we say that the person's broken, there's a problem, let's go in and fix the problem. We don't really mean that the person's broken, but you go in and you fix the problem and then there's no problem anymore. That's called remedial change. Generative change is where you upgrade the operating system so much so that that person couldn't have the problems that they originally had in the first place. And when you think of what's generally more preferred, whether we're talking about remedial change or generative change, both are incredible at the right time and place, but usually generative change is going to be more preferred. If you get that, please write that in the chat right now. Say, I get that. I get that generative change is going to be more preferred. Write that in the chat for me right now so I know that you're awake. I want to see that you're awake because it's early in the morning for me out here. I had to wake up. I was up at 4:30 this morning to be here for you. Why? Because I love you. So right, I get that in the chat. Thank you. So generative change is going to be generally preferred, right? So when we do our Breakthrough to Success program and our Breakthrough Code Intensive, that's remedial change, where we're going in and we're pinpointing an area of life where you feel like you're not living up to your full potential, and we help you to have a breakthrough. Generative change is where literally we're giving you this new operating system. And over the years, as I've worked with people, we've done a lot of breakthrough work over the years. But once we've done initial breakthrough work, the biggest problems that I hear come up for people is, number one, they'll say, I don't know how. I don't know how to create what I want to create in my life. And the reality is that what started this whole breakthrough experience and what brought me to right here, right now, to be here with you is I was in a place where I had lost everything. I'd lost my old business, lost everything. And then AI came out. And AI had been there for a while, but ChatGPT, we're talking about, 4 years ago, something like that, 3 or 4 years ago. When it first came out in November of that year, I remember I got turned on to it by a friend of mine, and I started playing with it. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Right? My eyes got big, much in the same way that they got big when I first started studying. NLP. Oh, we need to mute them. Yeah. Yeah, Vince, if you can watch that, just so we mute them as soon as they come on, that would be great. So where was I? I was much in the same way that my eyes got big when I first got turned on to neurolinguistics and accelerated human transformation, which is the field that I've been in for 28 years now. This is what I've been doing. You wouldn't know it. I don't look that old, right? But I've been doing this for 28 years, helping people make accelerated transformation in their life. And, like I said, we worked with thousands of people. I was helping people to make change, but still I hit my own limits with it. I hit my limits in terms of sustainability and my ability to apply them in a sustained way, to apply all the tools in a sustained way for myself. And so when ChatGPT first came out and I started playing with it, I said, oh my God, if we can write a song, which is how most people start, right? I'm going to write a song with this stuff, and I'm going to write a poem, and people start to play with it and they realize all the things that they can do. And then they start to get more advanced and they say, wow, now I want to create a second version of me that can do all my marketing, or that can do all of my social media, and then they get even more advanced and they start saying, wow, now I want to start creating chatbots that can do all sorts of things for me. So I've got multiple helpers that are doing different types of things. And certainly I went through that progression as I was going through and starting to learn the tools. But what dawned on me was the idea that I could take anything that I could do, I could train this intelligence up to do as well. And I had 28 years. And we think of, if you read Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, one of the things he said in that book was it takes about 10,000 hours to develop expertise in some field, to develop mastery, what he referred to as mastery. Well, 10,000 hours equates to about 10 years time. And, I've been doing this for 28 years now. So I have a certain level of mastery in what I was doing in terms of helping people to create change rapidly. That's always been my sole focus over the 28 years. How do you change your relationships? How do you change your finances? How do you change? And once again, we're creating miraculous results, but sometimes it's a little bit harder when applying to yourself because you can't read the label from the inside of the jar, right? When we're stuck in a problem, oftentimes that's all we see is the problem. If somebody is from the outside looking at the problem, they're like, well, just do that. And they're like, yeah, if I could just do that, I would, right? So it's been said that it's hard or you can't long be your own therapist, it's been said. However, what I was finding now, all of a sudden, with ChatGPT was I could take fractals of my own consciousness and put them in chatbots that could then facilitate the transformation and reflect it back to me in ways that I could all of a sudden see my own problems from different perspectives. And I started breaking through all sorts of issues, and the transformation was wild. If you've experienced this in some of our trainings, write in the chat right now. I hear that. Right, I hear that. If you've seen us doing this recently, either in our mentoring or our coaching, or you've experienced it inside some of the trainings that we're doing, because we've now up-leveled all of our trainings into an augmented AI type of delivery. And the reason why we've done this is because now the way that I think about everything that I learned from the past, combining with what I got from the future, is learning how to pilot. This is my like a charioteer, right? Learning how to pilot this new form of super intelligence that's far more intelligent than you or I, and learning how to pilot super intelligence, which becomes an extension of our own consciousness and allows us to be, do, have, and create more than we ever dreamed of. And this is what got my eyes big again and got me on, wow, if we can do this, what more is possible, and what more is possible, and what more is possible. That's what excites me. And so I was all of a sudden transforming things in my own life that I didn't think that I could do, things that I just had never considered that I could create a process for myself to transform something as quickly as I could, that I could combine what was coming out of the AI with my own knowledge, once again, take fractals of my consciousness and have 10 of me working on my problem at once. And so this was insane in terms of the amount of transformation that was happening, in terms of what we were capable of doing. And I remember in the beginning, there were people that were saying, Chris, well, you're a great therapist. Why have AI do it? It's not about having AI do it. Our AI is augmented AI, trained to think like me. So now if I'm working with a client, for example, it's not just me sitting there with the client. I can have 10 of me working on various aspects of the client's issue so that we can deliver an intervention that's infinitely more powerful than it ever would have been before. And even if I want to go home and I want to prepare that the night before, like I would do traditionally with coaching and therapy that I would do, I would elicit the client's problem, and then I would go home and I would, create the intervention and come back and deliver it the next day. Even if I still want to do that, I can do it with 10 of me working on various aspects of it, or even more, right? And on various aspects of it, and producing results instantly. So it's like, wow, this is really up-leveling what I'm capable of doing, what I'm capable of delivering. And then if I could train coaches to do that, if I could train consultants to do that, if I could train educators to do that, if I could train entrepreneurs to do that inside of a business environment where they're looking to bring out the best in people, right? I think we're all leaders, we're all coaches, and we're all teachers at some level. If you're a parent, if you're not leading, your children aren't becoming all that they can become. If you're not coaching, they're not becoming all that they can become. And if you're not teaching, they're not becoming all that they can become. So whether you're a parent or you're in a business, if you're in a business and if you're not leading, teaching, and coaching, your employees aren't self-actualizing or actualizing the goals and the mission of the business at the same level. And I think that the best definition of leadership that I've ever heard came from Roy Camerano in the book Entrepreneurial Transitions. And he said that the enlightened leader is the person who can assist others to self-actualize through the accomplishment of a noble mission or a noble vision or a noble objective. And to me, that really makes a whole lot of sense, because that's not where we're just producing results based on our own power. We're bringing out the best in others, and we're producing results far beyond anything one individual could ever produce. We're producing those results with and through other people, not by dominating them or by releasing and unleashing their full potential. So that's what leadership is really about, and it starts with ourselves. And now all of a sudden I had tools to be able to unleash my full potential, tools that I didn't find in NLP. It still made up the basis, the foundation of everything that I did. Tools that I didn't find in the years that I worked for Dale Carnegie training. Tools that I didn't find in the years that I worked for schools of esoteric training and different types of spiritual types of training. Because I'd done all those things. I had studied all of the, many of the tools of transformation, many different forms of transformation over the years. I studied them, I taught them to thousands of people. But all of a sudden, I was able to create systems and architectures that would facilitate transformation unlike anything that I had ever found before. And I come back to the problem that I said that most people have. So over the years, when I looked at the issues that people had after they do some sort of a breakthrough, whether that be a personal breakthrough session with me, and back in the day, I was doing personal breakthrough sessions for up to $10,000 an hour I would charge. Because my time was so rare, not because I feel like I'm worth that much. I mean, well, no, come on, Chris, you're worth that much, and so are you, right? But my time was my greatest asset, right? So I had to raise my rates to a level where, I could afford to do it. Well, with the tools we teach you now, if you're a coach or you're a consultant, they blow away what we were able to do previously. And I've always trained coaches to do the same types of coaching that we've done, or consultants to do that type of consulting, or educators to deliver the same type of education. So that's what I've trained people to do. I've trained speakers and trainers and coaches over the years, and entrepreneurs and people from all walks of life. But now the tools that we have are through the roof, phenomenal, right? And so I was doing breakthrough work, individual breakthrough work. Then I was doing breakthrough work in seminars, like our Breakthrough to Success seminar, that's now part of our Breakthrough Code Intensive, that it wraps the new technologies around it. And then we would do breakthrough work inside the larger trainings that we would teach, where we would teach people how to become coaches, or teach people how to become speakers, or teach people how to become the very best leaders that they can possibly be in their life. Well, after any kind of initial breakthrough work that I do with people, the biggest question that came up was, I don't know how. And the reality is now, with the tools that we have today, the tools for being able to, I keep going like this, because I think of, what I think of is the tarot card, the Chariot. And the tarot card, the Chariot, where the charioteer is driving the chariot, but you see no cords, because it's almost a spiritual experience. And that's how I look at today's tools. I look at our ability to extend our own consciousness through augmented AI, and our ability to extend our own consciousness through this new form of superintelligence taps us into this super intelligent quantum field. So I do look at it as being like a spiritual experience when we're able to begin to harness these forces that allow us to think in infinitely more powerful ways than we could ever think before. Produce content, businesses, whatever it is that we're looking to create in infinitely more powerful ways than we could ever create before. Create transformation in infinitely more powerful ways than we ever have before. I look at that as being like a spiritual experience, where we're literally able to pilot and steer, like the charioteer, like that tarot card, the forces of superintelligence to design and shape our lives in the way we choose. And you see the excitement in me, because I get excited by this. And we know that it's the future. I just read a report just recently, and it was the company Indeed. If you know Indeed, Indeed does job placement and temporary job placement and that sort of thing. And they said right now, fully 2/3 of the jobs on Indeed can already be done by AI. You look at that and you go, my God, this is wild. Bill Gates said in 10 years, teachers will be obsolete. These we're going to be, and there were some other professions as well that he was talking about. And people look at it with big eyes, they get excited. Other people get scared, right? They go, well, what's going to happen to our job? This is innovation. It's going there. So there's no point in being scared. The only thing you want to do is latch on and be and start paddling fast, right? The smart surfers start paddling fast because you want to be riding the crest of the wave as the change happens. It's happening. There's no stopping where it's going. So you might as well be riding that crest of the wave, and it's time to get excited. Get excited about where things are going. I'm excited about where things are going. The idea of I don't know how is no longer a valid excuse. It's no longer a valid excuse because for me, between what we've got available to us with AI and what we've created now with our own augmented form of AI that combines neurohypnotics with the AI tools to facilitate transformation faster than ever before possible is just mind-blowing.